Rifle is a lifestyle company. My wife Anna and I started Rifle Paper Company in 2009. Got our start in stationery, so really we're doing greeting cards, notepads, journals, all sorts of paper goods.
We started with stationery, but I feel like now we're growing to more and more things, and it's illustrations and the look that's at the core of it. It really boils down to it's a design-based brand.
My wife's an illustrator, and she's an amazing creative director. She's the real secret behind the company. And as a result, it's all based around her aesthetic.
It's all painted with gouache, for the most part. It's like an opaque watercolor. It's very flat and velvety. The colors are really rich. Painting with gouache is really how I ended up finding my style. I grew up loving stationery. I had pen pals. I loved postage stamps. Like, I used to try to design cards with the old computer clip art program, and I had my own logo on the back, like Anna's cards. Just a lot of little things that now looking back, I'm like, oh, there was this pattern that I didn't really realize was happening.
Before we started Rifle, I was in a rock band touring the country, and Anna was a freelance designer, and she did all our band posters and merch and our album cover and all sorts of stuff.
I would do posters for their band and other bands and get paid nothing, or maybe $5, or maybe a ticket to the show.
I used to tease her that people liked the album cover way more than they liked the album. And it turned out to be true, obviously, because now we stopped doing anything with music, but did everything around her design.
I don't remember that as much as Nathan, but that wasn't true. They were pretty big in town.
So she was doing wedding invitations. So she did our wedding invitations. She did a couple of friends' wedding invitations.
That was the first time I illustrated people, like a little couple in a scene, which became what I was known for and what people really wanted me to do. I put photos of our wedding online and the invitation, and that's when people started reaching out, and it was the first thing that really seemed to resonate with people.
People were really excited about it all over the internet because they were unique and interesting.
I just started to get a flood of emails from brides, and at that point had to figure out pricing, and that's when Nathan stepped in to help me and started emailing people back for me.
We both quickly realized that there was a lot more demand for this stuff than made sense to do just on a client basis. And so she decided to think about how we could maybe start a brand. It was really her idea.
That was really the start of us working together more officially and the beginning of what Rifle became.
And we had a website made and started designing kind of a product range and did the whole thing. And then launched, and it was just honestly, it was like a spaceship, it was like a rocket. It just kind of went off. It really worked. So her instincts were right.
An entrepreneur is someone who takes risks, makes investments, and discovers previously unforeseen profit opportunities.
How you doing, man?
Good.
How you been?
Not bad. Yourself?
Taking care of yourself?
Oh, yeah.
An entrepreneurial mindset starts with a natural curiosity. That's the germination of any great idea, is just asking questions about how and why and where and who. So curiosity, I think, leads to a sense of creativity and a love for ideas. And that's sort of the starting point for an entrepreneur.
It is a tricky thing to get your head around. What is an entrepreneur? People think of it as someone that's creative, someone that starts something. But I think that a lot of people miss maybe the crucial aspect of what makes someone an entrepreneur. And that's someone that is solving someone else's problem in a unique way.
So the entrepreneur tries to imagine a future situation and how he can benefit from this situation. And the only way of benefiting is to offer something that people value a lot.
A lot of these things just are hit and miss. You're going to try it, Some work, some don't. Some work the fourth iteration. So you've got to be willing to say it's okay to fail occasionally. And as you get bigger, sometimes that's harder to do.
Entrepreneurs are going to be told by consumers, I don't like that, you did it wrong. So you have to be willing and humble to accept feedback and to change.
One of the most overlooked aspects of an entrepreneur is that they're an executor. And execution is also a point that I forget about all the time. Yeah, I mean, I played every role at the business, and I'm not so sure that every role I was that good at. I just did what we needed to do. You find a way. It doesn't necessarily mean you're the best guy at what you're doing. You're just doing what you can, but you can see what needs to be done. And eventually, hopefully, hiring someone that's better than you at that thing is the goal. You can't just have the idea, right? You can't just figure out how to solve someone's problem. Like, it'd be great if there was a way to teleport someone to Mars, right? You can't just come up with an idea. You have to be able to make it happen.
Great ideas are a dime a dozen. It's the people that have the guts to follow up on that and do whatever it takes to see that turn into a living, breathing organism or enterprise. That's the difference between somebody that just has great ideas and somebody that's an entrepreneur. It's all in what you do with it.
Entrepreneurship occurs on the margin, meaning we're usually tweaking something. It's not just about coming up with a revolutionary idea that's never existed before. It can be changing something that already exists, or it could be a service.
Apple is a great example of combining older technologies in a new sort of mix that makes them seem novel again.
And I think one other point is important here on entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship does not happen when you just have one entrepreneur. There was never be a Steve Jobs without a Bill Gates and a Michael Dell and all the others. So they're feeding off each other to compete for the consumer's business that matters.
If an entrepreneur creates something in a better way than it's been created, people notice. The industry notices, and it kind of ups everybody's game, and it sharpens everybody. Even large companies recognize you have to continue to be excellent in order for someone to not be able to overtake your dominant position.
But it also requires certain institutional requirements. And I would say that is typified by soundness of property rights and the rule of law, not an overly burdensome regulatory system, sound currency, freedom to trade, government that's not overly intrusive, overly corrupt, exploitative. Those are all requirements for the entrepreneur to be enabled to take those risks. And I think that's the power of entrepreneurship, is it gives us access, it's inclusive, and entrepreneurship is colorblind, race blind, gender blind. It's open to anybody who has an idea. It's empowering. And I think it really kind of gets to our human anthropology that we're made to work. We're made to be creative. We're made to be industrious. And so this attitude of entrepreneurship, when we think that we can do it, we actually make the world a better place and we live longer, healthier lives, which gives us a better chance to flourish.
I think part of what entrepreneurs can do in their building of businesses is actually to sort of create, in the end, a more just and a fairer society and a stronger society.
The morality of entrepreneurship is not that rich people get fancy things. It's that ordinary people get things that 100 years ago, rich people couldn't even afford. And it extends our lives, so it's an amazing thing.
An entrepreneur doesn't only solve problems for other people. They also create value for other people. That's a crucial aspect of being an entrepreneur.
The key thing is to understand value. And most textbooks on entrepreneurship would start with some sort of customer identification, customer definition. And very often they just skip over what value is to the customer.
I make cards, right? If I have a piece of paper and some ink, that might be 50 cents, right? Just for the sake of the argument, 50 cents of paper and ink. If I can combine that and make a $5 card, I've just made $4.50 of wealth in the world. That's crucial. That's valuable.
Nope. Driver.
Driver?
Yeah.
All right.
So there's actually something quite remarkable of knowing, like, how to work with people, coordinate resources, have the idea, have the design sensibilities, whatever it takes to make something so wonderful that you think it's worth so much. That's value creation.
Is that right?
What did you learn about the economy or what an entrepreneur is just from doing it that you didn't know beforehand?
Well, I don't think I would have appreciated how hard it is or how much risk it takes to go out and start something. I'm more in awe of other businesses.
Yeah, we put in a lot of hard work and tears those early years. Literal tears. We used to also joke that we needed to like alternate meltdowns, so like we couldn't have one at the same time. The style has a very broad appeal, which was not necessarily an intention, but is part of our success. I try to always balance how feminine it is with something that's somewhat timeless, that it's never too frilly or too girly. And really, in a sense, like try to design what I'm illustrating and make sure that it's just fun, that it makes people happy. I mean, they're cards, they're paper products. The products aren't like changing the world. They're little things you have on your desk or you're sending to people that are meant to make you happy and bring joy to people or write a special note.
So I believe in what we do because we bring some sort of elegance and beauty, and even in small moments in people's lives. And hopefully, people are more likely to write each other notes because they have something lovely to send to the person that they love. You know, these are things that you hope.
Do you give rifle paper gifts to your wife?
No. I might wrap a present with a rifle paper, wrapping paper or something, but no.
My goal is that you see it in a store and you're like, it catches your eye and that it resonates and makes you want to pick it up and you feel happy about something.